says
Let me see
we're
if it pops up.
streaming.
It always takes a minute to come up, so we'll see.
I can't see comments or anything.
Yeah, there you go. It's just come up.
All right, okay.
It's just come up.
On Streamlabs, it doesn't come up with the stuff on the side, does it?
How do I get a link? No, I can't.
Did you go live?
Yeah, we've just pressed the go live button. We're on a. They can't see us.
Boy.
Oh boy! For someone who runs his own podcast, I've never
So
had
I
someone
can say whatever I want now, right?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
We haven't hit monetization on this channel yet. That's absolutely fine.
Oh right.
I'm
See, so I can like sing a song and it won't demonetize you guys.
No,
Well,
I literally, like, as soon as I monetize my channel, I was like, we are getting the podcast off my channel
yeah.
now.
It depends how
Shalom,
well.
Nathan.
I would say it depends how well you sing the song, but it actually really doesn't, does it anymore? You can literally just like,
It really doesn't.
yeah, that's crazy to me that you can't even.
Did I tell you about my live stream the other day?
No.
I live streamed NBA for like an hour.
Yep.
I had 9 copyright infringements.
Oh my god. Jesus
on that
Christ.
one video. I won't private that.
Oh my god. Right, we are technically at midnight now, aren't we? So I'm going to switch over.
We certainly are.
And I'll pop us straight in with an intro. Welcome to episode 11 of the Midnight Club podcast. Obviously, myself and Ed, and we've got special guest Marty, aka FlygonHG, who is massive guest on at the moment. So thank you for being here, Marty. How are you doing today?
Hey, that is so nice of you to say. Thank you so much, Jack. It's an honor to be here, and I'm doing wonderful. Thank God it's Friday, right? TGIF.
Oh God, yeah. Tell me about
Not
it.
for me. I work in a takeaway. So Friday night for me is hell. But thank you.
This is the start of the downfall. So, for anyone watching the podcast who doesn't know, I mean, I'll let you introduce yourself properly, Marty. But you stream, you do YouTube, you run your own podcast. I mean,
You're a famous man.
You're a famous man now. How would you sort of describe yourself to anyone who doesn't know about you?
Well, I guess, the if we're gonna say that I'm famous, which again, way too generous of an adjective to put on little old me over here, but I've got a YouTube channel called FlygonHG, of course. It's like the Pokemon Flygon. Is my favorite Pokemon, and I do hardcore Nuzlocke challenges on those, usually with some sort of twist that makes them even harder than a normal hardcore Nuzlocke. And I've been having a blast with that. I started streaming on Twitch as well, just doing those and doing them with chat. And sometimes it's great. Sometimes chat helps out a lot. Other times chat completely distracts me and it takes 5 times as long. But I love it. Really appreciative of everybody that's come and watched me play Pokemon, because that was kind of the thing that I've always loved doing ever since I was a little kid. And it's kind of crazy that it's turning into something slightly more than a hobby, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, I also have a movie podcast that I do. It's not quite as successful, but I love doing that. I do that with my friends and various people around film Twitter, and that's really fun too.
Oh, awesome. Very nice. We'll talk about all those avenues during this podcast, guys. I mean, we'll probably sort of talk about your own podcast nearer the end, because I think the big elephant in the room basically has been your booming success recently. I think it's something we need to put out there straight away. So I literally have screenshots on my phone. We were saying a minute ago, I think I messaged you about 6 or 7 weeks ago, maybe 7 or 8 weeks ago.
Sometime like early March, maybe?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago at all in the grand scheme of things. And at that time, you were at 43 subscribers on YouTube. Your videos were getting around 100 to 300 views. It was obviously quite up and down depending on what it was really, but it was around that mark. And I actually came across you myself by literally just typing in Pokemon Hardcore Nuzlocke into YouTube, and you were something like the sort of the 5th search that wasn't Pokemon challenges. And I started watching the video, and I think the first thing that needs to be said is the production quality on the video and the actual content itself was really enjoyable. I can't remember exactly what video it was, but it was one of your certain type hardcore Nuzlockes on a certain game. Mm-hmm. One of your early ones. I think you had about 5 videos up at the time. And I messaged Ed quite quickly and said, like, I want to message this guy. I want to get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
I love the content. It's something obviously quite similar to what I'm streaming myself. In the way of the hardcore Nuzlocks, I'd love to get him on and talk to you. Skip, we talked about a date really early on, didn't we? About this date here.
Yeah.
Within about sort of a week of finding you, you said you'd come on the podcast, which was awesome. Skip forward 6, 7, 8 weeks, and you're now.
Famous.
I think I'm right in saying about 31,000 subscribers on YouTube, and between 100,000 and 300,000 views per video. And I just sat there and went, "Oh my god, what the hell has happened?" Like, but, sort of. I mean, how to you? How is that? I mean, what was sort of the point that you saw it just start booming? What was your reaction to it? And
it's all sort of still just like, is this actually happening kind of thing. I think I made my first video, which was just a straight fire red hardcore Nuzlocke, like, you know, sometime I think in December of last year. And I was doing it because I was just like, you know, I'm doing these anyways. I've been doing Nuzlocke since like they became a thing whenever that first comment came out. And I thought, okay, well, this is like would be a nice hobby to do these things. I enjoy making things, being a content creator, that sort of thing. So I was like, okay, let's do this. And so I did a couple of them and nothing really happened. You know, I was excited when it got like 40 views or something. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome that, you know, 40 people actually took the time to bother checking out this video. And then I think around when you messaged me the first time, I think it was like within, not to say that it was because of you, but
I was
maybe,
about to say, you were about to
you know,
say that we just I messaged you, Jack's putting up your channel.
So around then, I think, you know, however you found it through search algorithms, the YouTube algorithm picked it up and it sent it to anybody who has ever looked at a Nuzlocke or a hardcore Nuzlocke or whatever. So probably people that watch Wolfie, people that watch Pokemon challenges. So all these people that have these huge followings were looking for more content, and I guess they kind of stumbled into my channel, and then everybody started watching it, and people responded really positively. It was like crazy how many people were just like, "This is so good. You're so great. This is an awesome video. I love this, whatever." And I was just like, "Oh my God, how?" Because you know, you hear all of these things, and I've seen comment sections of YouTube. They're mainly just like the bottom of the barrel of terrible fucking people, right?
The cesspool,
so I was blown away. The cesspool. So I was blown away that so many people were like taking actual time out of their day to be like, wow, this is good, do more of this. So I was like, okay. And then it's a positive feedback loop, right? I'm a type of person that really likes positive encouragement. So when people were like, make more, I was like, yes sir, of course. And so I made more, and it kind of exponentially went for a little bit. And it's, you know, it's curbing towards a plateau again now, but I don't know, it's been amazing.
I have a counter question for that then, because I had one video on my channel that, like, compared to all the others, is like up here with views because it's on like 1,000 and something. Did you have a minute where you were like, something ain't right, something's gone wrong? Like, because I saw it, like my subs went up like 400 in a day, and I was like, well, something weird's going on. Like, what's gone on? Why is this happening? Like, you just take a minute to be like, that is so weird. Why?
Yeah, well, so there was definitely the one that definitely like hit 100K views first was the Emerald Grass one.
Yes.
And compared to all the other videos, that one was by and far skyrocketing. Like the other ones were getting hundreds or whatever, but this one was getting to 10,000, 20,000 really, really quickly. And so I was like, oh, this has got to be a mistake. This is a one-time thing. No way. But then it started bleeding down, right? I guess people who saw that one were like, well, we want to check out more. But yeah, I don't know. There was definitely a moment where I was like, this is not happening. And honestly, every now and then I'm still just like, this is insane. Why? What? How? You know? So I don't know. I got really lucky though. That's just the truth of it.
I mean, you say it got lucky. I don't want to blow too much smoke up your ass, but I've said it to Ed
blow it
quite a lot, because when I first found your channel and saw the content, I think the first thing that stood out, like I said, was sort of the effort put into it. I mean, you're not just making a 10-minute YouTube video and shoving it on. You're doing an entire Pokemon run, condensing it into a 20 to 30-minute video, post commentating over everything, adding different things to it. I mean, there's obviously a lot of background work that goes into the videos that you're making, and knowing how long a hardcore Nuzlocke run, even just on one sitting, can take.
Oh, Jack's rubbish at them.
I'm rubbish at
Just
them, so
He's
you know,
terrible.
10 runs in, and I'm like, no, let's go on to the next one. But I mean, obviously, how long are you spending making one of these videos from the moment you start playing that game to the moment it's being uploaded? What's sort of the turnaround time?
So, I mean, it definitely depends on the ease of the challenge and everything, but I definitely say that the bulk of it is the playthrough. So I do it very sequentially. I know that some people probably do it where they, you know, I think like Madrybread, who's another big PokeTuber, he does his where he writes the script as he goes, right? But I tend to do the whole challenge, and depending on what that is, it's over a course of a couple days to a couple weeks, depending on how much time I can devote to it. I usually play on emulator speed up to hopefully that's not illegal or something, but that definitely helps to speed up through all the crap that I don't need to actually, you know, film. So that takes like a couple days, couple weeks, whatever. Then usually it takes me several hours to write the script by going back to watching all the footage, all the main stuff that I want to hit, typing out everything that I want to say. Then I record that. Then I do editing of the audio, which is, you know, pretty quick. It's like an hour or two. And then the actual video editing, the very first video that I did was the very first time that I did that. So I'm probably not doing it super efficiently. There's already stuff that I've learned as I've tried to kind of like improve the process a little bit, but that takes many hours. So I'm sure anybody who's done any YouTube video editing knows it's such a pain. But
it's always the smallest, most dumb edit that you want to put in as well that takes the longest for some reason.
The
thing that's so irrelevant, but you're like, yeah, I want to put that in, takes 5 hours.
Or it's like the one frame that you don't want to include, so you have to go back and cut it, but like you have to zoom in really far into the timeline to make sure you get that one cut. That's something that I find really frustrating with the Pokemon stuff, is because you want to make sure you get all the content, but you don't want to be too choppy. And sometimes in certain Pokemon games, right, it's like leech seed recovery, leftovers recovery, berry, the HP bars in Diamond and Pearl that take fucking forever. So it's like you gotta really work around all that. So it's a pain in the ass, but I really am proud of the end product for sure.
Good. I was going to say, I think it definitely comes off as showing like a bit of a what's the phrase, like labor of love. Like it obviously comes off that you're enjoying what you're doing as well. It's not just like I have to do this. Like you're making the choice to do it because you want to. I guess with that then, obviously you're saying how long it takes to get a video out. Without obviously giving anything away, unless you want to give us a couple of spoilers or anything, how far ahead of yourself are you? I mean, how regularly are you actually putting out a video? And let's say at this point, how many have you got planned and ahead and pre-made? How does that work out for you?
Yeah, so right around the time that things sort of like kicked off, I got really lucky because I hadn't been posting consistently. So I had a couple in the back burner. So I was able to pretty easily work like a week or two ahead and say, okay, you know, I know what I'm going to do next, so I can put that into the video and I'll have it done before the next video comes out, you know, something like that. So I kind of have like a buffer. But then now that I am starting to like try and stream again, streaming, it takes much longer just because like, you know, you're talking to people, you get distracted by whatever. I don't do this full time, obviously. So I'm working yet. I mean, you know, we'll see. But, you know, so I'm working during the day and stuff. So I only have like a limited amount of time. So I've actually like burned into my buffer. And now I'm kind of scrambling a little bit.
Same. Don't worry.
Yeah. So the one that comes out tomorrow is a Fire Red Poison Challenge. And I am still working on that video. Like I right before this, I was like rendering it. So
thank you for taking time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you very much.
No, it's good.
Feel bad now. Jeez.
I do have ideas of what my next challenges are, right? Like I have a list of stuff that I want to do, and I have a general idea of what's going to be next. But Yeah, I may need to take like a week off from work or something and just do 3 or 4 challenges so that I can get some, buffer again. Because I do want to be releasing once a week, but that's just not feasible probably coming up here. So I may have to take, a week off somewhere or something.
You could do other stuff in there, other Pokemon stuff, I suppose, rather than just Nuzlocke all the time.
So,
have you ever heard of a great idea that we had called Root Wars?
Root Wars.
Root Wars. So basically, right, this was on Sword and Shield. And I was like, right, Jack, I want to do a Pokemon thing with you. So we sorted it. And basically, you randomise, like, 3 routes. And then we had to, like, pick Pokemon specifically from that routes to battle each other with. And then I did make Jack eat lemon with some, like, really hot chili sauce on. But I lost the video. I lost the footage, and Jack was just like really.
I had to do this horrific challenge for lost footage that never got uploaded.
Oh man, that sucks. I'm open to trying new stuff. Like, lay it on me, and it's just.
Well, I was going to message you, but it took you till today to add me back on Discord. That I'm a little bit hurt by. But
he's not being sour.
Is that true?
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
I'm so sorry, man.
It's fine.
That sort of what
Discord is one of those ones that I still just haven't gotten the hang of yet. Like, people are like,
Discord.
Make a Discord community, and I just like, okay, I don't know what that means, but I will figure it out when I have.
It's an amazing tool to have, but it takes a lot of effort, I think, to get into it and the setup for it. Ed briefly mentioned then about obviously like saying about other content and such. Obviously, so your channel, you've got your hardcore Nuzlocks, and then you've got the one video that I love talking about Onyx. That's one of my favorite videos on there. How much have you thought much about branching off from the content you're doing, or at the moment are you thinking like, obviously this is what I'm enjoying doing, this is what I'm going to keep making? What's your thoughts on the content that you're doing and where you want it to go?
Yeah, more the latter. That if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, people are clearly responding to those things. I really like the Onyx video too. I think it's one of the more fun. Like, laughs per minute one. It's one of my friends
LPM
who also does Pokemon stuff. Like, he's like, I think that one's hilarious, it's criminally underrated, and I'm like, yeah, it is, but it's also the one that has the least amount of views for whatever reason. So I mean, this is the time for me to try new things, but at the same time I do want to kind of ride the wave and make sure I have like a backlog of stuff that people can identify as mine. Right. But I think you're right. Like, as I go forward, I'll want to, especially if things are shorter or quicker, to get on sort of weeks that I can't fully do an entire Nuzlocke. I think it makes sense to try some new stuff. So I'm always open to stuff.
I'm going to give you a chance to plug your podcast here as well. We discussed last week on the podcast, would you rather have your channel blow up, or would you rather have your podcast channel blow up and have like the podcast as something you can do with like all your friends and do that as like a career, or do your own channel as your career?
Oh, deep question. Oh, he's hitting there.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Tricky one
very
to bring
deep
out early.
Question too. Like, I mean, it's tough. So the YouTube stuff is still really new. It's still really fresh for me, and so I haven't felt burnt out at all. I'm sure eventually at some point I will sort of get to a point where I'll need to re-get myself out of stuff and that sort of stuff. I kind of feel like that about my podcast right now.
Okay.
Right.
I love doing the podcast, but I've been doing it for 2 years, and it doesn't get nearly as many views, so it's sort of frustrating.
That's a chance for you to drop his name, by the way.
Yeah, you're right. It's the Movie Marathoners podcast. So it is a movie-based podcast where, every week, or I think now we're kind of doing every 2 weeks, but every week, every 2 weeks, I have guests on. It's just me that runs the podcast, so I rely completely on guests, which can be kind of stressful. I'm sure you guys can relate to that. And so we review a movie, or we do something like a top 5. I think next week the Oscars are going to be playing, so I'm doing my predictions for the Oscars with my girlfriend. We're recording that this week, and that'll be the next episode. So it's all really fun stuff, and I think it's fun to get to talk about movies and things like that. But I think the one thing that I've noticed that differentiates the experience on YouTube versus the experience as a podcast, and specifically a movie podcast, is there are a billion movie podcasts.
Yes.
And yes, I have like a sort of niche, right? Like it's the movie marathoners. I run marathons, so we kind of incorporate this marathon-y stuff. But there's a billion movie podcasts of a white guy talking about what best picture should be, right?
Yeah.
And yes, there's a billion people on YouTube. Most of them are white guys, but I found that niche, right, of the hardcore Nuzlocks. There are still a lot of people doing that, but hardcore Nuzlocke that are type-based, that are the type of format that I do, I feel like I'm the only person doing that type of content. And so that's where I feel like I want to put my energy, because it feels like that's a path that I can make my own instead of just being one of a million movie podcasts, you know?
Well, fair enough. That's a good answer.
Makes absolute
I like
sense.
that one.
Obviously,
it was long, sorry.
no,
that's okay.
What we like to
We have
hear.
2 hours to fill. Take all the time you need.
It's true.
Obviously, we said we might talk a little
Well, then
bit.
let me tell you about... No, I'm just kidding.
We said, obviously, we go maybe onto the podcast a bit more later, but something that I think's interesting to hear from you, obviously, your podcast is mainly based around movies and stuff, and you said you've had it running the last 2 years. How has it been for you running that and talking about new movies since COVID has hit? Like, has it almost been the worst time where you're like, right, this podcast, I've got it going, and then like 6 months into it, oh great, we've got a worldwide pandemic and there's no new movies coming out, as in like your big Hollywood blockbusters and stuff. How's that affected your ability to run the podcast, movie based?
I think in general, the podcast industry has taken a hit due to the pandemic because, right, the most often time that people listen to podcasts is when they commute and when everybody in the world stops commuting. Even the really, really big podcasts have commented like our numbers are down.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing to do about that.
I mean, we've gone from millions of views to only a few, so we've seen it too.
Exactly. So you know, it's all the pandemic. Blame it on the pandemic.
If you check the channel a few weeks ago, then we were on like 2.8 million, and now we're on like 28. So it's kind of rough.
No,
we've had to go back to work, you know.
Yeah. But specifically for movies, I've found that it sucks in terms of planning things because not only do you not have like the big blockbusters like, oh, you know, 2 weeks from now Black Widow comes out. Obviously, I'm going to talk about that. So obviously I can find a guest and I can prepare for that podcast months ahead of the time, right? Yeah. But now with the pandemic, it's like, wow, that hit that came out on Netflix that nobody has ever heard of until 8 billion people watched it, or at least watched the first 5 minutes of it. So now it's like, okay, well, I had no idea that was on my radar. Do I like retroactively get a guest for that? And it just becomes a lot more awkward, especially when you're looking specifically for guests, when you're trying to do something that's supposed to be timed content. So it's kind of caused me to shift towards, well, we'll look at top 5 of Fincher around Mank, because Mank is something that we knew was coming out, or we know the Oscars are coming out, so that's something we can plan. And then maybe the day after that, or I mean the week after that, we do a movie from the 90s, whatever, you know. So it's been an adjustment for sure.
I mean, I think like for our guest wise, like we've targeted it very specifically to people that like we wanted to do, and I think so far every guest we've had on has been like perfect for what we wanted them for. Like that makes it sound
and
like
then you got me and I ruined it, right?
Well, no,
well, we weren't going to say it. No.
Well, you cross 2 medias, and I suppose that's good for us. Like you do, well, you cross 3 medias because you do a podcast, you do like your own YouTube channel, you do Twitch. So it's nice for us, like, because you've been doing a podcast longer than us. We were sat on. Were we playing a game?
I might have been playing a game. What we were doing? I think we were playing a game, yeah.
And I was like, maybe it was in Morgan's stream. And I just said I really want to do a podcast, and Jack was like, yeah, so do I. So I was like, right, do it, let's go. And that was that. And like, now we're here. How many weeks in? 10, 11, 12?
Week number 11 now. Did you find that, like you said, obviously you were maybe feeling like you were burning yourself out on the podcast a bit, and with the issues from COVID, is that maybe, do you think, what gave you a push to then look at the YouTube videos more, the streaming, or was that just something that suddenly came about when you thought, actually, no, I just want to do that anyway? Was that something you'd had on your mind for ages, or?
No, I think it was more coincidental, honestly. Like I was just like, is there, you know, I over the course of the pandemic, I think at least I started watching a lot more YouTube, and I started getting a lot more into PokeTubers specifically, and I started watching a lot of like Pokemon challenges,
Yes.
Wolfie, Cybertron, VGC, and I think Pokemon challenges also like sometime early in 2020 is kind of when his channel blew up. Like he only had a couple thousand or a handful of the tens of thousands or something, and now he's over 100, 200,000 or whatever. So I think YouTube kind of threw all this stuff at me, and I was like, oh, I can. I can't do exactly that, but I feel like I know enough about Pokemon stuff that I have something that I can contribute to here. Whereas in the like film Twitter space and stuff, it's so big. There's so many people, right?
Yeah.
And it's so opinionated.
Yeah, and you really need to have Twitter does suck. You really need to have extreme opinions. There's not a lot of like attention given to nuanced takes until you kind of get into the writing and the journalism and stuff like that, which obviously I can't do. I don't have a degree in that or anything. So like I found that it was kind of frustrating to be in that space and always consistently doubting myself, consistently feeling like I don't have like a voice to give. I don't feel like people are listening. And so after a couple years, I felt like that was just really frustrating for me. And I do have a lot of really good relationships with people on film Twitter. There's a lot of people that recur on my show all the time that I really, really respect, really admire, and they're always really fun to talk to. But I think just in general, that space feels a little bit harder to overcome than the more niche yet still somehow really accessible Pokemon YouTube space kind of thing, you know?
No, that's
Pokemon since the pandemic has taken off anyway, hasn't it? Because of the whole like Logan Paul thing, pretty much kicked that back off.
Yeah, you've got like trading card games and stuff have kicked back into it. Obviously, I mean, you had the release of Sword and Shield and such. I think on the Nintendo Switch has absolutely boosted things again. So Pokemon always does though, doesn't it? It always has maybe like a 5-year gap and then it just flies.
Yeah.
So you might, I think you may well have hit, even though you've. Am I right in saying you haven't had any videos on Sword and Shield yet? Yours have all been sort of earlier gens. I think you've got a Let's Go video, haven't you?
Yeah, I did do a Let's Go, and I'm planning on doing a Sword and Shield at some point. It's just, on the docket down the road a little bit.
It's time for Root Wars, boys.
That's the one.
I'm down. Let's do it. That sounds fun.
Grab yourself some.
Kick your guys'
grab
ass.
yourself some chili. Whoa!
I want to have a.
My gun's got claws, man.
I want to have a very brief mention on something that you said about a bit earlier. About a certain game named Pokemon Emerald Kaizo. You said that you played a bit of it. How did you find it?
I found it very fun and very, very addicting. I did not do like a hardcore level cap in front of it. I just did a straight Nuzlocke, limits or no limit to the level or whatever. Yeah. And I still wiped 2 Magma Hideout. And I tried it a couple times and I thought it was a lot of fun, but that it's not, I think it's really fun to watch people like Pokemon challenges do it because they have such a methodology to it and a huge patience and they can devote so much time to it. But people always ask me like, do you want to do Pokemon Emerald Kaizo? Like, will you ever do that? And part of me is like, yeah, I would love to do it and sit down and seriously do it. But also at the same time, like, it's so difficult. There are very few venues of success that you can have. So like, how is mine going to be any different than Wolfie doing it or than Pokemon Challenges doing it? And those guys are already doing it so well. So it's like, I don't know. Did you try it at all?
I haven't yet. I've kind of said to myself that in like the run of going from the base games to ROM hacks and stuff, at the moment, Emerald Kaizo is like the end game of, right, I want to do it eventually. I'm not trying it yet.
This dude can't even complete Pokemon Fire Red on a Nuzlocke.
If I can't beat Fire Red or White currently, then I'm thinking, no, we'll give that one a miss for a bit. But because I think Emerald Kaizo, and it probably was alongside the boost that people like Pokemon Challenges had, but that really has taken the Pokemon like streaming and challenge run by storm currently. I think it's everywhere. You've got speedrunners like Pulse Effect and stuff taking it on. You said like Wolfie, VGC. He's doing it now, actually. I think he's got to Elite Four in his run currently.
Yeah, crazy.
But So I think it's had, I mean, what, about a year, 6 months to a year, where it's really taken everything by storm, and everyone's like, oh my god, basically the hardest Pokemon game ever made is out there, and everyone's attempting it.
Yeah.
But I think it's starting to not drop off, but I think a lot of people are finding that, right, we've seen one person complete it, and this was their Elite Four team, and everyone else who's playing the game has planned for the exact same Elite Four team, because no one's wanting to create their own thing with it. And so I get what you mean by, like, I want to play it because it looks like it's insanely fun. However, I think there's such a level curve on it, and such a brick wall of the difficulty, that it's kind of like, I think I prefer watching other people play it, really. And then once you've seen one person complete it, you're like, I'm done with that one. 77 challenge attempts in. I think we're good. I think we're, So
that is the one thing I hate about like YouTube playthroughs, though. It's like you see someone do it, and then you're like, oh well, now I know how to do it.
Yeah. You find yourself
that
addicted to watching it, and then you're like, oh, should I play it now? Is there much point? But I don't know. That's why I never buy
single player games anymore.
Yeah, it's
I watch
it's
someone
a weird
complete
one.
it, and I'm like,
But Emerald, I mean, I only wanted to briefly pick up because you mentioned about it, and I thought I'd go on that. But that's a whole different level, isn't it? That's something else.
I've got a massive question, and I'm really hoping the answer to this is correct. Do you like Yu-Gi-Oh?
I do like Yu-Gi-Oh. I haven't played it in years, though, man. Like, man, what were those Elemental Heroes? I think that's around when I sort of fell off of it.
You're around our level. That's absolutely fine.
Hear me out, right? In a couple of days, we're organising to have like this Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, but we're doing it like Battle City, the original series. So we've got like a few like YouTubers, like Yu-Gi-Tubers, and just like some of our friends and stuff. We've got one of Jack's friends who's like a professional player in it.
Oh, damn.
And we're looking for people.
If you want to join in.
If you want to join in.
So, do I have to build a deck?
It'll be
so basically
online decks and such. So you don't have to have the actual cards. It'll all be like the original, the stuff you would have seen in the original anime and the cards you've grown up. So it's that
Red-Eyes Dragon, Red-Eyes Black Dragon.
Yeah. You'll get assigned a character from Battle City, and you have to use their deck. But who you go against will be randomized, and then if you like play and beat someone, you get to pick one card from their deck that you want to put into your deck.
Ooh.
Yeah. And basically,
I'm interested. You've perked my curiosity.
The offer's open there.
Give me the details after this. I'm interested.
Might be a little way off.
We have to do it online.
Yeah.
No, it's not too bad. I need 2 more people, and that's it. We're ready to go.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not quite ready to get our plane ticket over to Boston to give you a single Yu-Gi-Oh.
No, that's why we're doing it online.
Yeah,
because we've got a Canadian.
Yeah,
we've got someone who lives in the UK,
out.
But it's like a long time away.
Yeah,
I don't mess with Canadians. No thanks.
You kick him out. Lovely.
Yeah, right.
Lovely.
We'll make sure you two see each other in the final. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
That'd be proper anime. It'd be like America versus Canada.
The loser loses their channel. We'll do that. Yeah.
Oh my! I'm not playing.
So
I worked hard for that.
We've said about obviously your YouTube channel booming, and within that you said obviously recently you've sort of slowly finding your way on Twitch. I say slowly again. Looking at today's figures, you're about
slowly
2.3 thousand followers.
Yeah,
somewhere in that region. Yeah. And how are you finding Twitch streaming? Because am I right in saying one of your more recent videos, you had it was actually cut, or a video you're planning to do had been cut down from your streams.
Yeah.
How are you finding that? Because I imagine that adds even more time to your YouTube editing for the video. But B, how are you finding Twitch in comparison to YouTube? Like actually live streaming your attacks?
Yeah, I really love Twitch. I really love the sense of community and how, nice people are on it and stuff like that. I feel like there's a lot like a level of personability to it that you don't really get from YouTube from just reading comments and stuff.
Yeah.
It's interesting that everything is smaller for me on Twitch. I mean, so maybe that will change, but like I have a much smaller viewership on Twitch than on YouTube. And so part of that is kind of nice because you kind of get familiar with some of the users that come in and stuff like that. So it's really cool. I will say that Twitch is not at all intuitive. not a single thing, in my opinion, is remotely intuitive. Setting anything up requires watching 3 or 4 YouTube videos, reading the Twitch tutorial.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking maze or some sort of Pandora's box or something that you're just trying to figure out to do the most basic things. And they all have their own vocab words and everything, like channel points, bit badges, sub badges, all this shit. And it's like, nobody is telling me how to do this, which I guess is kind of cool, but also kind of scary because you don't know if you're doing it right or wrong or anything like that. So I don't know. It's been a really interesting journey so far, but it's still really, really new for me. I think, Jack, you've probably been streaming longer than I have, right? Like,
I've been, so my stream is weird, so I basically
I mean, mine still says live.
It says it's trying to reconnect, so we'll see how it goes. But so I started streaming a year ago.
Carry on if it's not going.
Is it?
Oh yeah, we just carry on with the podcast if it's not working.
Is it still working, Ed?
I'm gonna have to turn it up and listen.
The midnight. I can check on mine.
Still going. Okay, awesome. So I started streaming myself pretty much a year to the date. I did it for about a month or so. Actually, I did it for about 2 months. I got myself to affiliate, and then I basically stopped. I don't really know why. I think at that point my girlfriend, because of COVID and such, it was a pretty insane thing. I'd still living in my mum's at the time, and then my girlfriend had to move in with us, and we didn't have quite as much space between us, and I took a break. And then it was actually only really December, January time that I restarted streaming again. So I've been doing it consistently for like 3-4 months now. So
consistent.
Well, fairly consistent. Weekends. It's my week. It's my weekend thing. But so I mean, that being
it's my
really
weekend thing. I thought that was Patricia.
I've obviously only really started with Twitch, and I'm slowly trying to get my way to YouTube. So on that side, I'm like, oh, I love YouTube. It's so cool to get into, but I feel safe at Twitch. Whereas obviously you're slightly saying the different, where you're like, I fully understand YouTube, I feel safe there.
Yeah.
Twitch is really confusing. And to be fair, even as someone who does Twitch, it is really fucking confusing. Like,
well, I think what's so scary about Twitch to me, and at least when I first started doing Twitch before I had the YouTube thing, is that you have to it's sort of like trying to make it as an actor. I feel like going to LA, right? Like you got to move out to LA and you got to work as a waiter, and then you just wait for your big break. You put in all the work, that's the cliche thing, right? Yeah. Whereas with YouTube, it's sort of like you can do a remote audition every couple months or every couple weeks, and then once you finally find one, it's like you can quit your other thing. And that's sort of how I feel about my YouTube thing, is that like I was able to put stuff out there, and I got really lucky, and the algorithm picked it up, and things went. But with Twitch, you need the consistency, and it's kind of bullshit that like you need as much consistency as you do until you're even allowed to put ads on your thing and get any sort of revenue, right? So it's almost like Twitch is, and not that YouTube is a saint to creators, but like it's almost like Twitch is saying, well, you need to kind of risk everything to put yourself out there and be destitute for a couple months to even a year or two, right? And then eventually your work will pay off, and it will. But it just doesn't seem as like welcoming to me as YouTube, which maybe is just backwards. I don't know.
I'll ask you, because you're the same as me. I find YouTube a lot easier than I find Twitch, because like with Twitch you have to like hold yourself at like this high level for like 3-4 hours to get like consistent viewers, get everything doing, and you're like, I'll be happy the whole time. Whereas with like a YouTube video, you just sort of like film it, you're like, yeah, okay, I'll sort that later, like I can move away from that now. And then you upload it and you're like, okay, done. Like, Twitch, like, because I did Twitch before I did YouTube, and I got affiliate and all that rubbish, and then I just sort of like stopped doing it. I was just like, I just can't be bothered with this, because like you get people joining it, like it's nice, but then when you're like doing it at first, like you're trying, and you're like, hey, how are you? Yeah, and then they just don't reply, and you're like, good, brilliant, yeah, thanks. They pop in, they're like, hi, how are you? And you're like, yeah, I'm good. How have you been? Okay. Right, we'll carry on playing a game.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I feel. And I feel like with YouTube, you can almost do your thing and push it out there, and it's like you've just raised a child and now it's its own thing.
Yeah.
And in some ways that's scarier, right? Because you're putting sometimes 20, 30 hours into this one thing, and then if no one watches it, it's a little disappointing, but that's how I feel about my podcast all the time. So it's fine. With Twitch, it's like, oh man, it's just, you're always trying to do so, like they're banking on you being a reliable, consistent source of entertainment, as opposed to YouTube, which people can more easily just watch once and then you don't really have to think about it again.
Yeah, I think the other thing, difference between Twitch and YouTube is, it feels like with Twitch you're either nothing or you're one of the huge Twitch streamers.
Yeah.
Whereas YouTube, as
you can be a middle ground.
Yeah, and I think that's probably so far what you're seeing of your channel is, like, you started off obviously at the start that everyone has, and then you've hit one big jump up to where you are, which is a really nice like level for you, and then you can sort of be thinking, right, what's the next possible jump up level? What is there to work for? Whereas I think with Twitch, it's, you know, YouTube, you can be like, right, I've hit my 30,000 subscriber mark, what's next, and work up that way. Whereas with Twitch, it's like, you can see yourself, which is kind of what I'm at the moment, which is, it was like 100 followers, then 150, then 200. But in the big aspect of things, that's nothing. Like, to really be a big milestone, it's like, right, I need 20,000 followers. I need like,
and 75 average viewers.
Yeah, and I think YouTube is much easier to gauge where you're at, how you're doing with it, what you can do to improve. Whereas Twitch, it feels like you get brick walled. You feel like, I'm putting so much effort into this 3 hours that I'm doing. I don't know how I can be more charismatic and what else I could be streaming right now to get these viewers up.
That used to be your name on YouTube, DT Charismatic.
It did actually, and then I got bored of being charismatic and preferred to sit there and do damage counts on streams and realise I wasn't talking to anyone and stuff. So I became a zombie. So that's where that came from. But Twitch just seems like you're just constantly hoping for something major to happen. Whereas I think YouTube, you do sit a bit more comfortable just watching it slowly build up. I mean, some of us haven't had the chance to see it slowly build up, have we? We've just, you know, just somewhere just flicked. But yeah, I think
some people just get 100k views out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know those guys.
But I think that seems to be a big difference between the two. Is YouTube seems to be kinder to people who are growing the channel from the bottom, whereas Twitch, it's again, it is. You're nothing or you're everything. There seems to be no middle ground.
Yeah, and I mean, I think just in general, there is just like a problem with content creation in general, that there is no middle class, right? There's no what would you call it? Like a blue collar content creator that works for minimum wage but still can make a living with their thing. You either make nothing or you make enough that, because you're a huge person with sponsors and blah, 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 right? So it's like, it's really unwelcoming to people who can't fully commit to a thing without, you know, like any form of security or anything. Like, I'm really lucky that I have a part-time or like a full-time job and stuff. And so if I wanted to, and like I'm in a financial position where I could quit and then work on my content creation or whatever until hopefully I get to a place where I can be fully sustainable from content creation. But not everybody can do that. And it comes from a place of privilege, right? And that's really, really unfortunate. And I think it's more so for Twitch than YouTube, but even YouTube has that problem.
I have a counter question for you here. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
So your main platform is YouTube now. So instead of bothering with Twitch, why don't you just live stream straight onto YouTube?
I don't know. I feel like I just like don't have a good connotation with YouTube streaming. I've never tried it. I've never watched anybody live on YouTube except for maybe once or twice, or like live premieres, right? So I just sort of
slightly better.
You think so?
It's a little bit more like Twitch now. So you can have like a members thing, which is like having your subscriptions, and then you have like super chats, which is like your bits, I suppose.
They definitely seem to have up the game with YouTube live streaming.
Yeah. and you can. I don't know. I keep thinking like, oh, I could just go back and stream on Twitch and then upload on YouTube. And I'm like, well, if I'm gonna, because I needed the watch hours obviously to get monetized. That's why we had the podcast on there, by the way. Watch time, get in. But no, you're like, I might as well just stream on YouTube. Like, I'd rather, because if it is a good stream, I can just upload it as a video straight away and be like, lovely. And if it gets, 9 copyright strikes because I played NBA for an hour, I can just private it. So
Yeah,
it's okay. But
yeah. I guess
Twitch,
I've just never really thought about it. To me, it's like Twitch is streaming, but maybe that's outdated. I don't know.
It does
maybe
seem,
you should give it a go, see how it does.
It does seem the last year or so, you see a lot of the big Twitch streamers have slowly moved their way over to Facebook streaming and stuff, and it is definitely becoming a bigger platform. And I do wonder if that's kind of like,
blurry.
You hope that means that Twitch are now going to try and up their game with something else and compete, and not just somehow dwindle away. I can't see Twitch ever dwindling away, but
no.
And even when there was, what was the, oh god, this really is a kick in the teeth to it. What was the Facebook live streaming service that obviously went
Just Facebook Gaming?
Yes. I thought it was just Facebook Live.
Wasn't there something? There was an actual name for it, and I can't remember. It didn't last very long. But yeah, I'm really. If Facebook happened to ever be watching this, I apologise that no one remembers the name of the streaming service. No, it only lasted about 8 months, and there was people like Tfue were signed up to it, I believe.
Oh, I know what you mean. Everyone went off Twitch and they went to that thing and then went back, didn't they?
Yeah, and it was owned by Facebook and
Mixer.
Mixer, that was it. Yeah.
Thank you, Morgan. You've saved the day.
Yeah. So Facebook paid outrageous amounts to get Ninja and people onto Mixer, and then they went bust, and they still had to pay out for the rest of the contract, which was millions and millions and millions of pounds.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. Facebook have the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe Ninja had a contract that was something like £30 million for 6 months at work with them, and it went bust after about 2 months, and they had to pay the rest of the 4 months off to him. And
that's wild.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
But a lot of people said that the reason that happened was because YouTube upped their streaming sort of game, really. And so you do wonder if YouTube's always been the super giant of media sharing platforms and social media
100%.
with media and such. Is it gonna start affecting things like Twitch? Because I mean,
sorry about that. It's got a bit bright.
it is difficult to keep up with YouTube and such. So
everything's hard to keep up with these days because social media moves so fast. Like one day you're like, no, that's doing nothing, and the next day it's blown out.
Oh god, it does. And I mean,
what does the HG stand for, by the way? That's really bugging me.
Yeah, people ask that all the time. So yeah, no, it's fine. I can say. So HG stands for Holy Grohl. So my last name is Grohl.
Oh, okay.
And so the only pun that you can ever do with that guttural last name sound is it sounds kind of like Holy Grail.
Right.
So the HG is that's what that is. But
if it cheers you up, my surname's Gay, so
yeah,
it does cheer me up.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm really glad.
So but yeah, I mean, people always ask that in Twitch, and I don't tell them. So if they want to know, they have to come listen to this.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm gonna keep it quiet.
I thought it was gonna be as simple as you were about to say that Heart Gold and Soul Silver were your favorite Pokemon games, and that's why. But...
No, dude, fuck those games.
Okay, thank you so much for saying that.
Games suck.
God, they're so boring, aren't they?
Okay, so you brought it up, but
please,
you're gonna make
please rant.
If you're gonna make a Gen 2 game with 100 new Pokemon, I don't know, maybe put them in the goddamn game instead of relegating them to one route in front of the secret boss. Okay, the first gym of the new Pokemon game, the guy has a Pidgey and a Pidgeotto.
Yeah.
And the second gym, which introduces 2 regional bugs for the first time because there's a night and a day. So you got a ladybug for the day and you got a Spinnerack spider for the night. What a perfect thing to do to make that guy have a Ladian and an Ariados. No, they give him a Metapod, a Kakuna, and a Scyther. Why? There's like, of the 8 gyms, I think 4 of them have actual gold and silver Pokemon. And I know I'm yelling at you guys. You guys didn't design the game, but you're going to get the brunt of this.
Yeah, no, I'll take it.
It's a terribly designed game. I don't understand why people like those games so much. They're pretty to look at. I'll admit that. Like, I like the layout of the region and stuff, and the fall colors in Ecrotech are cool. And like the very, like, I don't even know what you call it, maybe like feudal-esque Japanese architecture and stuff is really cool. But I don't want. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'll just drink my Gatorade in peace.
I'll snowball off of what you're saying, because you said, I mean, the layout of the region's nice. It's not, because there's 3 gym leaders you can take on at the same time, so the level curve's terrible. And why is it?
You got Gatorade.
Why is it by the time you're ready to take on the Elite Four at your level 50 Pokemon, that everything you're going up against in the wild is about level 20 at max? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I don't get it. It's so frustrating. I mean, so I did that one challenge with the headbutt trees, right?
Yes. Oh,
and that
God,
one, asking about how long that took. God, that took like weeks. But one of the reasons was because, first off, I had like a shittier computer at the time, so I couldn't speed up quite as much. So
Amen to that.
Yeah, it took so long to grind on things, because before Claire, the 8th gym leader, who has level like 41 Kingdra, the Pokemon in the wild are level 20 or something, and there's no Versus Seeker, so you can't even refight trainers.
Yeah.
And anybody who isn't playing Pokemon is like, what the hell is this guy talking about? But why are you listening to this if you haven't played Pokemon? So
Amen.
like, I don't I don't understand how that game was designed at all. And then you go to Kanto, which has level 50s and 60s gym leaders, and the Pokemon are the same level as they were in the original game. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why, Jack?
Oh,
yeah, Jack.
Why did you do that?
You know,
I'm safe. Yeah, Jack, it's all you.
I whip myself every night over the fact they made such a horrible game. I blame myself. Yeah.
You should. You really should. Take yourself to the corner. In fact, go
like
behind your green
5.
screen and think about what you've done.
Just see my head poking over it. I guess as a question to follow that then is something you can be happy about. What is your favourite generation?
Ah, there we go. Happy time.
I feel like I get that 3 or 4 times every stream.
I feel like your name
part of me
gives an obvious.
So that one's definitely like my nostalgic region.
Yeah.
It's not the first one I ever played. Like, I played the original games when they came out or whatever. But like, I think Emerald is definitely the one that Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire. Those are the ones that I played right when like I still have a solid memory of what it was like to play those games for the first time. So those ones are definitely some of my favorites. I think when I go back and play them, especially in these challenge runs, they're not quite as well designed as what I think are the best games in the series, which is
Gen
Black
5?
2, White 2.
Yeah.
I think Black and White kind of suck because there's like 85 rival battles, right?
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it.
And there's so many fucking cutscenes, but White 2 and Black 2 cut all that out. They get rid of well, no, they don't get rid of. They add a whole bunch of older Pokemon, and like that dex is just so rich.
Yeah,
you can get so many Pokemon. I mean, like, it's crazy. I did the Fire type challenge in that because it's the only one that doesn't have 3 Fire types.
Yeah.
You actually get like 10 Fire types in that game. It's crazy how many people, or I mean, how many different types of Pokemon there are in that game. But then they also don't do the thing that the later games start to do, is just become like, go to the flag on the map.
Yes.
And then go to the next flag.
They sort of baby you through them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Gen 5 is really great, but also Gen 4, Platinum in particular, is a really well done game. I really like the dex in that too, and the fights are really difficult. And
I think like
Shiny
Hunting
the
was
first
better
time
then as well, by the way.
with the what is that called? The thing where you can link encounters.
Oh, DexNav on Gen 6.
No. Do you mean for
it's
Shiny
not Dex
Hunting?
Nav. Yeah.
Oh, I can't remember what it's called.
It's in Platinum. It's in Diamond and Pearl. What is it called?
Oh, I don't know. I know what you mean though. Like you can keep
Radar.
Like,
is it Radar?
That's
like
yeah.
Yeah.
Oka Radar,
Yeah,
something
that was
like
it,
that. I don't know, but yeah, all that's cool. And I really liked the competitive scene in the 4th gen too.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty nice.
And now we know.
We've had a lot of conversations on the podcast and just between ourselves anyway about. We've asked the question, like, if you could make one change to upcoming Pokemon games, what would it be? And I think one of the main things we both said is be able to have a way to have a bit of a difficulty buffer for the game, so that, you know, because I understand that they always need to try and market the games to the younger generation to get them into it, but for older Pokemon fans like ourselves, it's pretty annoying to go into a game and every Pokemon's gaining all the experience, and it literally is. I mean, I think Sword and Shield was actually slightly tougher than I was expecting it to be at times.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
I won't lie, I wiped to what's his name, Leon, the first time I fought him.
Oh,
I wasn't
really?
Nuzlocking.
Yeah.
The first time I fought him, I was like, this guy fucked me, because 4 of my Pokemon are weak to fire types, and he's got 2 fire types since I picked Rillaboom. So that was a mistake on my part.
I was so under-leveled in that game, because normally I'm like, right, you get to the Elite Four and they're like level 50. And then there was like, I was going to the gym and it was like level 60, and I was like, oh dear, I'm level 40, what have I done?
That was one of those games that I think it was a bit more difficult, but it's more difficult in comparison to the other more recent games that are way too easy. Like, again, compare it to Platinum and all the Generation 5 games, it's still way too easy. Everything's so hand-holded. And I would love to see, like, imagine if they put in, Game Freak put in themselves a Nuzlocke mode that you could click a marker on and do it, and things like that. I mean, Pokemon is amazing. I always love it and always play the new games. However, it's not got the same feel as it used to.
I miss Mega Evolves.
What's that?
I miss the Mega Evolution. Like, were they? Yeah, they were Megas, weren't they? Like Mega Gengar and
Mega was good.
Oh, they were so good compared to, like, what was it? What's the game that's
the
like
Z crystals were so
Oh,
stupid.
Z crystals.
Yeah,
were
that's
terrible,
it.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And they did like a little
like,
dance.
what?
Yeah.
That whole game was crap. I hated that. Honestly, I hated it.
Yeah, Sun and Moon.
I can't believe I paid money for it.
Yeah, the only games that I ever didn't play are Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which I'm sure I'll get around to because people request Nuzlocks of them all the time.
But I played about 2 hours of Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and then I've never picked it up again. I feel I'll go back and play it, but that, you know what, we need to do a collab. We all need to sit through, and the challenge is who can actually be bothered to complete that game.
Yeah, a 24-hour stream of just Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
Don't put me through that.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
it's interesting to think about like what Pokemon could be and what it could do and stuff, because it's kind of like an untapped well of stuff. And I think in a way, Nintendo reminds me a lot of Disney, like trying to merge the two worlds in movies and video games. Is that like Disney is sitting on so much gold and they could do so much stuff. And then we were just talking about the Lion King, like they remade Lion King and it was terrible, but it made
awful
over $1 billion, right? Because people are gonna watch the Lion King because people like me have a poster in their room of it and they're gonna watch it regardless. And I went and saw it. So it's like interesting because, as you said, I will play every Pokemon game forever because they have me as a fan, but I do wish that they took steps to improve the formula. They just don't have to, which is kind of frustrating.
As much as I'm not trying to make a pun here, Pokemon hasn't actually evolved that much over the years. I know.
Beautiful.
I know. Oh, good.
It's the Far-Fetched of Pokemon.
But
right, that's where we're ending the podcast, everyone.
But on that note, and I'm assuming
Far-Fetched just evolved.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? Oh god. Pokemon is less evolved than Farfetch'd at this point. That's insane.
Yeah, Jesus.
I'm assuming you've seen the recent trailers that have come out, and we're talking about how Pokemon is changing. What was your views on Pokemon Legends Arceus, the trailer?
Oh man, I was so excited to see this. You know, I think so. It's so interesting to like try and bargain with yourself and think about how much you let yourself get hyped for something, because every time something comes out, there's a part of me that's like, don't be so skeptical, like just enjoy it, but then there's another part of me that's like, don't be so gullible, because we know what happens when they make these promises. Like the Sword and Shield expansion pack will scale with levels. Do you remember when that was announced, that it would scale based on how many badges you had? And then it didn't. So we were all excited that, if we played the game, since we've been playing the game for 8 months now, of course we all have level 100 Pokemon. So wouldn't it be so cool if Mustard at the end of that has a level 100 Urshifu that you're fighting? But no, he didn't. It was level 60, so you clicked one button and then he was dead. But like so I don't want to get too excited, but I think Pokemon Legends Arceus could be like what the future of the franchise is. And if that is it, that is really freaking cool.
Yeah.
Because they did revolutionize Breath of the Wild or Legend of Zelda. They completely changed how those games are played. Yeah, amazing game.
Jack's not played it.
I've never played a Zelda game in my life. I'm a horrible person.
I honestly, I think before Breath of the Wild, I played one 3DS game, the one where you can like become a painting.
Okay.
And then maybe 10 minutes of Twilight Princess, because my brother was like, this game is really good, we have it on the Wii, here, let's play it. And so he played it all, and I got to getting a fishing rod in the village and then never left the village, and that's as far as I played in Twilight Princess. Point being, that completely revolutionized what Legend of Zelda could be. And then I think they sort of did it with Mario Odyssey. Not quite. I mean, we got Mario Galaxy
Odyssey
and stuff.
Was too short.
Yeah. I don't love that game as much as a lot of people do, but it shows that they're able to take the old properties and do something interesting with them.
Yeah.
Right? So Pokemon Legends Arceus, is this a demo reel for what the future of the franchise is? Is this a one-off game that they do once, like Pokemon Conquest or Mystery Dungeon, and never really touch again? I don't know. I mean, what are you guys thinking? When you see this, is this what you want the future to be?
If you... I don't know if Morgan's still in chat. Do you remember when Star Wars Battlefront 2 came out? I don't know if either of you play it.
I've played both the original and the remake.
So when never played it.
So the original is genuinely one of the best games ever made. It's fantastic.
Am I making this up that it's like StarCraft? Or
it's Star Wars. There is Star Wars, but it's like imagine Battlefield mixed with Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you're like,
so they hype it up. Yeah. So me and my friend were like proper buzzing, like, come on, we're gonna get it on release day. And like you build up this like massive expectation. We're gonna play it all day. It's gonna be amazing. Get on, because this EA, it was basically pay to win. And then they said, no, we don't want to do pay to win, and they literally took everything away from it. And I'm so scared that Pokemon's going to do something similar. Like, they're going to bring out this game, they're going to hype us up. You're going to be like, yes, come on, it's going to be amazing. You get in, you're like, what the hell is this?
I personally do think the beginning of Pokemon, and I don't think I'd mind this. I think they're going to bring us a game that almost doesn't feel 100% complete.
Yeah, and that's what I'm scared of.
My hope
that's
is
what I'm worried about.
My hope with it is that it's a game that they're planning on lasting for like 5 years plus, that they're going to keep updating and keep bringing things to it in the long run. Now, it's not always the best way to do it, but if they set that plan out from the get-go and let the community know that, then fair enough. But if they say, here's our brand new game, it's amazing, you get there, you spend 50, 60 pounds or dollars or whatever on this game, and it's completely empty, and they're like, in 2 months you get 4 new Pokemon, then it's so there is a worry there. I mean, personally, I think that the Pokemon spin-off, let's call them spin-off games, have always been incredible. You mentioned Pokemon Mystery Dungeons. It's one of my favourite series of all time. The Pokemon Mystery Dungeons are unbelievable. Even things like Pokemon Snap, which should have been a really simple, boring game, was actually really fun.
I think I still have that on the N64. Do you reckon it's worth anything these days?
Maybe they're remaking that as well, aren't they?
I know.
Yeah, I think it comes out this month.
Yeah.
I was going to do a skit video, but it was going to be like really rude, and then like because of COVID, I couldn't do it. I was going to like get you to drive me around. I was going to like find some fat person in town and be like, Snorlax, let me get a peck.
That would be
that's me.
Ed, the easiest way of doing that is just me. Just drive past me. But
that is true, and then I don't offend anyone.
But I think by going what Pokemon spin-off games have been like in the past, we can be really hopeful. But like you said, there's such a worry that you're like, yeah, it's going to be amazing, and then it's such a disappointment because it does have the potential to be such a disappointment.
Well, it's like EA games, isn't it? You know what you're going to get. You know it's going to be crap next year, but they build up this hype. And you're like, yeah, come on, you get it. And then it's like FIFA. I haven't bought FIFA this year. And everyone was like, oh, so much better, so much better. I said, give it a month. And within a month, everyone's like, I don't play it anymore. It's pointless. It's boring. It's rubbish.
We are really not holding out for an EA sponsor on this channel, the amount that we've slated them on the podcast. Every week, there's at least 2 mintes of us saying that we hate EA. But, yeah.
Slagging them off.
I think going by, like you said, the trailers that we've had make it look like it could be revolutionary for Pokemon. And I think that's
I wish they'd push the Switch. I wish they would push the Switch. It's such like a good console and such a good concept. They just haven't done what they need to do with it.
There's not much on the Switch. You've got your huge AAA titles, and then.
Do you remember at first when they were saying like, "Oh, the Switch could be like a VR device"? Do you remember that rumor?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so people had even done like blueprints and stuff because the Switch has like motion, like so when you move, and then obviously you have the wireless Joy-Cons. People were saying like that was the purpose of it. They were going to make it into a VR Nintendo console. They should have done it. I'd have been so happy.
VR Pokemon would be pretty fun, wouldn't it? Like proper VR.
And then
Pokemon.
if they do Arceus, open world Pokemon game in VR.
Yeah,
you might crap your pants a few times when like a Dragonite comes over, but don't worry about that.
Well, it's just interesting because when we saw the trailer, it was clear that it wasn't complete yet.
Yeah.
And obviously, it's not for another year or so, so they have a lot of time to do it. But I am really worried that it's going to be like a proof of concept kind of game.
Yeah.
Which, like Jack, as you were saying, that's okay if then. I think it's okay if then they say, okay, well, this is us testing how to do this open world stuff.
Yeah.
And then Gen 9. I think, are we on 9 next?
Yes. Yeah.
Gen 9? Yeah, jeez. So Gen 9 would be a regular Pokemon game, except it's open world like that.
Yeah.
That would be cool. What I think would suck is if they charge us $60 for this, you can
That's
catch 50 Pokemon.
Say.
They can all learn 3 moves, and there's not really a story or anything, and it's sort of just like, wow, we kind of charge you for this. And then they don't even do anything with it, and the next game that comes out is freaking... like Let's Go Johto or something, I don't know. So I'm cautiously optimistic, but like that is promising that at least they're doing this, right?
It's a step in the right direction. It just needs to be executed.
Yeah.
Well. I mean, I don't know if you ever played Colosseum. Did you ever play Pokemon Colosseum?
Yeah.
I thought that.
Colosseum. I played XD more, but
we didn't really have that in the UK.
Cool.
So if you wanted that on GameCube in the UK at the time, because I had Colosseum, so I completed Colosseum. I was like, right, I want that. If you're paying like £70 to £80 for it, which for you would be like $100.
Yeah.
I'm paying that.
Yeah,
I was a kid. No chance. But no, I thought those games were really well done.
I had a GameCube. It was the first GameCube that we got, or I guess the only one, was a like Gale of Darkness version of the GameCube. So it was like silver and had the Shadow Lugion on it. It came with the game. So I put a lot of time into those. Those are good games.
I hope you still have that console.
I do, somewhere. Sitting somewhere in my mom's house.
That is going to be going up in value.
Oh yeah. I should make sure my mom doesn't toss it. Wait, actually, do I just have it here? No, it must be. I don't know.
He's going to go rooting through the cupboards in a minute, isn't he?
I'm going to go rooting through the cupboards in a minute. I'm halfway to Boston.
You sort of brought up a good point. We were saying about, obviously, like, not wanting Legends to be a £60, $60 game when it releases if it's not going to be fully complete. Me and Ed have actually spoken in the past on the podcast as well about the prices for games, and especially when it comes to, like, single-player games and stuff. Now, obviously, we know your content comes a lot around Pokemon. I don't know what video game experience and stuff you have outside of Pokemon and single-player games, but how do you see the future for single-player games in especially trying to sell it for these AAA prices in comparison to what is now the big games that sell are, let's say, things like your Call of Duties now that are so expansive. I mean,
to put it in a nice way, Jack's saying like they don't have much replayability on the single player games unless you want to do the whole thing again. It's like when a game has multiplayer, like there's so many different avenues you can go down, like GTA for example.
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I already made the comparison that Nintendo is like Disney, but in the same way that movies are starting to become kind of really stratified. You either have the really, really tiny movies or you have the huge blockbuster movies. The only things that are consistently reliable at the box office are Marvel, Star Wars, Pixar, Walt Disney animated studios, right? And so Disney has all those things, but the reasons that those things are so popular is because of pre-existing relationships with stuff, right? And I feel like the same way Nintendo, their single player games, like I think most of my Switch games are single player. Animal Crossing is kind of 2-player, but not really. I have Mario Kart, but other than that, it's like Pokemon, Breath of the Wild is completely single player, Mario Odyssey. So like all of these things, those are the ones that we pay $60 for. I paid $60 for fucking Let's Go Pikachu. And like so I think that will always be a thing. Mario will always come out and it'll always be $60, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think, and we see that now with like a lot of like Ubisoft games and BioShock and all of those ones. Like those are really, really good games.
Yeah.
And you can get them for like $20-$30 on sale from Steam.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd imagine that that's just going to get more stratified, and that's why you like if you want to get Pokemon Heart Gold, it's still like $40.
Pokemon Heart Gold on eBay, like you said, it's like the cheapest you'll find in it. Normally, people are now only selling the game with the full bundle, which is like £60-70, and I'm like, I want to play the game so badly, but I'm not paying that. Like,
and I remember like even like it's probably like 10 years ago at this point, but I was looking for some old GameCube games that I wanted to play that I just missed at the time because I wasn't as into video games then. So like I wanted all the Metroid games. I wanted Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn, and that thing is like $60 back then. I think now it's like hundreds of dollars to get Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn.
But the thing is, right,
so like
I don't mind paying $60 for like Pokemon games, Mario games, because if I want to go and trade them in, I'm still going to get like 30-40 back. The problems with like when you buy like a new Assassin's Creed game, you play it and then like in 2 months you go to trade it in and then like we'll give you like $12 and you're like, oh.
You go into CEX and they say, right, we'll give you 20 pence, but we want your console as well. Like,
do you have CEX in America?
We do, but they're not nearly as big as GameStop.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
see, they're GameStop and there's another one as well, isn't there?
Yes, CEX here is kind of it. The last like 5-10 years, it boomed.
Yeah.
And now it's
they're
everywhere.
Bastards,
but they are, they're terrible. But
GameStop is the exact same way.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos that are memes about trading in your games at GameStop and such. Like a game that's $40 to buy is $2 to trade in or something. Like
it's not even hyperbolic.
Yeah.
Like I looked on CEX, right, and if you bought like the newest MacBook, which was $2,000, they'd be like, we buy for $1,000, we sell for $2,000.
Yeah.
Like who in their right mind's gonna go? Do you know what? Go on then. Go on then. I'll shoot myself in the foot like that.
I have to say, actually, I'll be honest. I can't ever fully slate CEX. My first ever capture card that I got, which was the Elgato HD. And I traded in my Xbox 360 at the time, and I got £64 for it. And the Elgato they were selling was £65. So I got my first Elgato basically for £1. And it did me well for about 8 years. So I can't slate them for that. They helped out there, but yeah.
Sam just put in chat saying CX will give you 30p for your Xbox Series X and take your kidney out on the way. That's literally what they're like. You have to like give them your soul over the counter. Like, I'm so sorry for taking your time.
Right. I think now might be a good time. Let's go maybe more onto your podcast and talk about your podcast. And within that, because I'm a massive nerd myself, let's talk about films. And as a bit of background, I actually work in a cinema, like my full-time job. Obviously, they're not open at the moment.
Oh, sweet.
And Ed is actually one of my loyal customers that comes in like every other week, or used to, obviously, when we were open and stuff. Between
that's because they charge £4 for a ticket to any film. So it's like, well, am I going to go to the Odeon? I don't know if you have Odeons. I know that you.
I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you have do you have Cineworld and stuff like that?
Cineworld owns something, but
Right.
I don't know what. But we don't have Odeon. I know that's
your
a
cinemas
UK
are
thing.
huge.
Yeah, I mean, so in reference, cinema tickets, like if you go to the big ones like the View, Cineworld, IMAX, and stuff, you're looking £13 to £15 for your cheapest ticket.
Oh God, and the rest?
Yeah, and we're charging £4 every single ticket. It's a proper little local seaside town cinema, like run by loving Pat, but he's this old guy that's worked in cinemas all his life. Like we have 3 screens and the maximum capacity in one screen is about 100 seats, so it is really small. But
the thing is though, like I pay £4 to go and see like any film, and like why would I go and spend like 30 quid to go and see the same thing? I went to the Odeon, I bought 2 tickets, 2 Ben and Jerry's, and it cost like 48 quid.
It's stupid.
I was literally like, I was like, do you want me to go and get a loan from the bank to pay the rest of it, or are you okay? Can I go to my seat?
Is it like that in America? What it's outrageous prices and
yeah, but at least they can get decent drinks. Your drinks are like this big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it sort of depends on where you are. So I'm from Arizona originally, and
Cardinals.
Yeah, go Cards. And we almost won the Super Bowl that one time.
You did, I remember.
We so at Arizona we have like a kind of a chain of movie theaters. They're called Harkins theaters, but they're just around the state or in part of the Southwest and stuff. And so you can get tickets there for like $6, $7, $8. Yeah. But when I'm in Boston, I think tickets are usually like $13 to $15. If you want to do IMAX, they're like $19. Yeah. So yeah, it's super fucking expensive. And then you have like the world's shittiest popcorn that I will always buy every single time, and it's like $18. No, it's not. But it's what is it? Like maybe $8.
Oh yeah, we have.
How much?
$8
for popcorn.
Yeah.
Is that for something that's popcorn? Like that big though?
Actually, I probably have a bucket.
I was just going to say he's got a box, doesn't he? If you want to go and grab it, you're more than welcome to. Yeah.
He's going. I got an M&M's one from the shop in New York, and it is literally like Jesus.
Oh my God.
I have. I'll wait for him to put his headphones on. I have to ask though, do you actually have the butter dispensers?
Yeah, we do.
Oh,
that's gross.
I know. I like the sound of that. I don't really like popcorn that much, but...
It's really gross, but
tastes nice.
Don't knock it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a reason Americans are fat, but it's good. It's good. It's good stuff. It's really good. But yeah, you get these like buckets of popcorn, and then these things are like $8 or $9, and it costs the theaters like 2 cents.
Oh yeah, it's talking from like experience. It costs nothing. Like,
literally nothing. Like
I worked at a theater for the summer too. Yeah, and it's just like you get it in bulk. And you just dump it in there, and it probably costs like 11 cents.
You do feel quite bad selling it, like at times. Yeah.
I'd give it away. Well, to be fair, you used to give me. I don't know if you have them in America. There's these like bacon flavored crisps. They're called Cracks.
They're amazing.
Mm-mm.
And literally, the company went bust, and I went into where Jack works, and I was like, "Oh, I'll have some Cracks." He's like, "Oh, we've actually changed them." And I nearly left, to be honest with you. It was pretty much the whole reason I went to the cinema. And he's like, "No, these ones are better." And I tried them, and I was just sat there with such a sour face. Like, no, I don't want these. These are rubbish. I'm really fussy, and that broke my heart more than anything. Still sad about it.
You said then, it's quite interestingly, obviously, so you have or you did a summer job at a cinema, then a theatre?
Yeah.
Is that something that you do most years then? Do you keep doing it?
No, I just did it once when I was an undergrad in college, and I went back home, and needed a summer job. So it was really fun though. We got free movies every day, and you could bring a guest. And I watched so many movies that summer. It was crazy. It's like every single movie that came out, I watched.
I do have to ask though, right? And no one's been able to answer this so far. Why are college sports in America such a big thing?
Oh man, that's like a really psychological, like really digging into what it means to be an American type of question. I don't think I have the education to answer
that. They do not
but...
exist in England. Like
honestly, you turn up to like a what you would call a college football match, and there will be like 3 mums there. One of them screaming, and that's literally it. Like
one of them holding a baby by its ankle, waving it when a goal gets scored or something. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because I was an athlete in college. I ran track and field, and I ran it at Boston University. Yeah. So and so we were D1, which is like the big sports division that has all the teams and stuff. But Boston University doesn't have a football team. And also Boston University's campus is so in the city that it doesn't really have that like campus college feel, that kind of like classic American college thing. So I never really got the whole school pride, campus pride, everybody goes to the football games every Sunday kind of thing. So it's kind of like lost on me too. I mean, I grew up right next to Arizona State, which is a huge campus party school kind of thing. So I've been to football games there and it's insane. But I don't totally understand it either. I think it's just people like they like their communities, you know, or they have like a self-masturbatory kind of thing.
Is it called like a sorority thing?
Yeah, sorority fraternities.
Yeah, like that sort of. Is it like that sort of thing? Like because they're all like so close knitted, they like want to go and support their friends, but because they're like the big groups, everyone goes with them. Is it like that sort of thing? It's so hard to know.
I don't know. I mean, I also just like, you know, you said like the cards. Growing up in Arizona, there's not a lot of sports teams to really root for if you want to root for the winning teams. So I've never really been super into like cheering for a specific team. So
I've noticed that. I've noticed that being like quite a common thing in America. Like no one. I went to Tampa Bay Rays. Like for the baseball. Other than these 2 people that were absolutely crazy, they had like a little cat on a stick with a uniform and long story. But like they're such. I went to the Knicks versus the Bulls as well, and I've always supported the Bulls. So whilst I was in New York, I was like, right, this is my chance to see the Bulls play. So I went, and there's like this, by the way, is unheard of in England. There was 2 Bulls fans. This was at Madison Square Garden. 2 Bulls fans sat there cheering like every time they went in, like every time they scored a basket. If that was the UK, So I support like a local football team around here. The stadium's like 20,000 people. 2 fans stood up in one of our stands, celebrated when they scored, and genuinely 50, 60 people beat the shit out of them. Like, how they survived, I have no idea. And there was this one bloke I saw come down from the other side of the stand, ran down the stairs, ran that entire length of the stand, jumped over the top and just punched this bloke in the head. And I was just like, what a legend. But you're so chill about it. Like, no one seems to care. They're like, oh, okay.
I know.
He supports them.
I was speaking to my uncle, and he works in England, but he works for quite a big company, and they do business trips to America. Now, I don't know who was playing, but it was an American football match. And
Come on, Jack, get your knowledge together.
He said the thing that sort of surprised him that he didn't realise, and you might be able to comment more on this, but it's not just, people aren't just going there to watch the match or the game and then leave. It's like an entire day out. People in the car parks doing barbecues, you've got everything there, and you go there for a long time and have an entire day out and then go home afterwards. Whereas again in England, that's not really a thing, unless you're going to watch the match and then you're having like 20 pints in the pub afterwards. Like that's the extent of the day out in England. Really. Whereas America, it just seems like even the sports, going to watch them, are such a commercialized event.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a lot of people just watch it on TV. I don't know. I'm sure you guys do that too, obviously. But like,
I watch
there's
all the
a
American
lot.
sports. I'm so sad.
There's especially like baseball. I feel like when you go to a baseball game, I've been to a couple Sox games here, and
Yeah.
most of it is you're just with your friends that happen to be kind of close to a baseball game.
Right.
And so you watch a little bit, and I mean that's part of American baseball,
Yeah.
right? Like it's kind of a boring ass game, except for the one or two times when somebody hits a ball.
Yeah. I mean, the Bulls are losing at the moment, just so you know.
There is just a whole like industry around commercializing every single thing and making it kind of like an event.
You whack adverts on everything.
Yeah.
Like everything is advertised in America. It's unbelievable. But
including YouTube videos.
I suppose that's just the world we live in. Well, now they are. And if you head to FlygonHG, you can watch lots of lovely adverts.
Yeah. Loads of lovely adverts, every so often interspersed with some mediocre content, let's say. Yeah, no.
Exactly. That's my brand.
I mean, if it cheers you up, mine's worse, because I have like 45-minute videos of just me playing a game, and then they've got like 6 adverts in, and I'm literally like, oh, please watch them. But I upload every day, so I can't like edit things nicely. I just whack it up, and I'm just like, right, do what you need to do, video. But don't get 100k views like Sam.
I'm lucky if I upload. I'll do a thing where I'll upload like 3 videos in a week, and then I won't upload for about a month and a half because I kind of forget to edit anything. It's very strange, but
Amen.
Yeah, but we'll talk a bit more about your podcast then. I know we briefly mentioned it. I get the idea, the fact you've got a podcast on it and such. we tangent so hard, so easily. It's brilliant.
No worries.
I'm assuming then you'd call yourself a big film fan. You watch quite a few movies and.
Oh yeah. I mean, movies aren't out anymore, so it's been kind of sad to be a film fan lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love movies, and I feel like I kind of came into it later in my life. Not that I'm like old or anything, but I feel like I know a lot of people that, fell in love with movies in high school and stuff, and it wasn't really until college that I really started to like dig into and analyze films in any meaningful way.
I'll absolutely say I'm pretty much the exact same. It wasn't until I was probably about 17, 18 that I really realised I had a love for films.
Yeah, and actually what kind of, funnily enough, got me into it was the MCU and Marvel Cinematic Universe and stuff. Because, I mean, I was I was a teenager or something when Iron Man, if it was 2008 when that came out.
Yeah.
I was 13, I guess, at the time, something like that. And so it was right around that age where I was just like so fascinated of the idea of what it would take to do this from a production perspective and what's the next thing, what has been announced. And so like after I watched The Incredible Hulk and saw Robert Downey Jr. at the end of Incredible Hulk, I was like, holy shit. Yeah. What's next? And so you go online and there's all these websites like, and a lot of them have changed now and are kind of trash. But like back then I thought Screen Rant was this amazing website. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they had so much news. It's just like a film news website and more of like a slant towards like, I would say nerdier, geekier kind of films and things like that. Now that's just mainstream films, but
they're like this
at the time,
this might help Ed understand. They're like a nerdy version of Lad Bible in the same way Lad Bible started off being really amazing and now it's absolute shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now it's just like post the same thing every week.
Yeah,
and listicles and all this shit. But at the time, it was like they would break down all this stuff, so I would go back to that website several times a day and just read the articles and stuff, and it got me really into movies. And then from there I actually transitioned into the more heavier and more dramatic and more competently made stuff. And that is actually how I got really into films. So I always love talking about those types of movies because I think for me it acts as like a gateway to get people to see a lot of other more challenging and more thought-provoking films because they're so accessible to a wider group of people.
I have 2 questions for you. First one, do you know what shithousing is? Irrelevant. But...
No.
So it's kind of like someone who just like comes and trolls you. It's
Okay.
a nice way of putting it. And this
So
is
you're
my
gonna come
shithouse question
shithouse?
for you.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna come shithouse. What is your favorite 3 films?
What are my
Ooh.
favorite
Top
3
3.
films?
That's a shithouse question.
So my favorite 3 films are probably just purely nostalgic films, but Finding Nemo,
Okay.
The Lion King,
Finding
and
Nemo. I was not expecting that.
I guess, oh man, favorite. I don't know if this is my favorite film, but I freaking love 21 Jump Street. I
It's a
think that
good
movie
film.
is
It's a
so
great
funny.
film.
Yeah.
It is one of the funniest films, and it's not like it doesn't insult your intelligence with its humor.
No.
It's such a clever film. I love that film so much. So those are my 3 probably.
Do you know what? I wasn't expecting that, considering you said like, "Oh, I analyze like all the deepest stuff, and I love to like have a challenging film." What's your favorite film? Finding Nemo.
It's
Oh, sorry, I meant to say, I don't know, Drive, Moonlight.
I think Jack's top 3 are always interesting because he loves his films, but his are completely different to Finding Nemo.
My top 3 changes so much. So I think I'm always going to have a joint top number 1 between Reservoir Dogs and True Romance. It's so hard for me. If I had to, I'd probably pick True Romance. And then number 3, again, for where you said it's maybe like nostalgia. Not so much nostalgia, but it's growing up with it, is Logan. Because of just it's
I didn't know what that was, by the way. So I went to the cinema to watch Logan, and I was asking so many questions like, "Well, what is it? I don't know." And I was with my ex at the time, and she was like, "Oh, it's just like a film about this bloke." And I was like, "Oh, right, okay." So we go, and I was like, I was literally like, "I swear to God, right? It's either a really long trailer or this is Wolverine."
Yeah.
And this is about half an hour in, and I just clocked like, "Is this Wolverine?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You could have told me that. Like, I've been so lost." I was like, "Why's he got claws? I don't get it."
Logan is really good. It is relentless though, man. That's a brutal movie. I've never actually seen True Romance, but
I'm assuming you've seen Tarantino films. Yeah. And you're a fan of them?
It's interesting. I don't think I'm as big of a fan as a lot of people. Like, it's not quite my cup of tea. Right. I think Reservoir Dogs is up there as one of my favorites, though. I think that one and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because it's the least Tarantino of his films. Those are my favorite.
So,
wow, shots fired.
True Romance was actually directed by Tony Scott, but Tarantino wrote it.
Okay.
I believe is pretty much the easiest way to sum it up is Tarantino wrote it. But essentially, Tarantino got given the choice if he wrote Reservoir Dogs and True Romance. They were coming out around the same time, and he was only given the option to direct one, and he chose Reservoir Dogs. If you watch True Romance, you can tell it was written by Tarantino. Definitely worth the watch. It's another one of, like, in Tarantino style, of every single character you'll be like, oh my god, it's that person, I recognise that person. Like, the cast is amazing. But I would say it's worth the watch. It's it's not as relentless as Tarantino films normally are. It's a very easy watch. It's almost quite a feel-good film, but it's not. Like, it has got the gritty stuff to it, but it's feel-good. But definitely worth the watch. Definitely worth the watch.
Someone in chat's just asked if you've seen Starship Trooper.
I have not.
I haven't.
I know about it.
Yeah.
It's like a cult comedy kind of thing.
Yeah.
Sorry it took me so long to say that. I was watching the basketball. just to be honest.
I will say, though, I like Reservoir Dogs for that reason, is that it's so short that I think the relentlessness of Tarantino is not quite as grueling to me as some of his other films. I'm thinking of something like Django Unchained, which I know a lot of people love.
I do love it, but
I can't get into it. Every time I go to rewatch it, because I'm like, people love this, I'm missing something, and so I try and go back every now and then and see it, and it just doesn't work for me. But I think Reservoir Dogs, I think Reservoir Dogs does everything that Tarantino does well in a smaller time frame, and I really enjoy that.
True Romance is very much that. It's you've got one or two scenes that can be difficult to watch, let's say, but I can see you googling True Romance now to remind yourself.
I'm just gonna look at the runtime here. Oh, 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah, so it's quite an average film length, but it's I would say anyone who likes cinema, like what I call proper cinema, and enjoys films and stuff,
I'm
like
out.
it's something to watch. On top of that,
If it doesn't have Disney on it, I ain't watching it.
you said your favourite films, and obviously we were a bit thrown off by it. I guess then we're going to ask you another throw-off question that's going to make you go like, oh, for God's sake, they've asked this in the
Shithousery.
class. Bit more shithousery. What would you say is, like, if you had to put down as maybe the best film you've ever seen as actual filmmaking and film goes? Or you can name like 3, 4, 5 different films that you would put in there or something. What would you say, like
Gonna start with
best
Finding
films
Dory
of all time?
Yeah.
Dude, fuck Finding Dory. Finding Dory sucks, okay? Get out of here with that shit. No.
Finding
I wanted to
Finding
pick a
Dory
good
was what Finding Nemo
Pixar
wanted to
sequel. I would pick Cars 2.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
No,
Just kidding.
Monsters
I haven't even
University.
seen that. Monsters University is good. I don't know if you're kidding or not, but that's a great movie. I love that movie.
No, I love Monsters
It's
University.
good,
I'd go, if my girlfriend wasn't in bed, I'd go and get my pillows. I have a Mike and Sully pillow. Morgan's outraged that no one's mentioned Lord of the Rings or Star Wars.
Those are good movies.
Revenge of the
Yeah.
Sith
Well,
was a
so I
banger.
mean, actually, I do think that in terms of what they were doing, Lord of the Rings is probably up there as some of like the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
Just because
Yeah.
they're just incredible. I mean, I think they had a huge advantage by getting to film them all at once and not really having to worry about do they have to set up the next thing. They just told the story, and it happened to be 3 movies long.
Yeah.
I think one of the best movies I've ever seen is definitely Schindler's List.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too heavy on the 11th hour of the podcast here, but like that movie.
Anything...
What?
Cough over anything you say, just in case.
That movie, I saw it for the first time a couple years ago. It came out again in theaters, like IMAX or whatever, for its I think 60th year anniversary, maybe.
Yeah.
And no, that can't be right.
No, it wasn't.
No, it was in the 90s, 30th
Yeah,
year.
I don't think Liam Neeson's quite that old, is he?
Yeah, yeah, 30th year anniversary. Anyways, or something like that. And it just wrecked me. Like I was a mess at the end of that movie. That thing is just a masterclass in telling a story with respect, telling a story that affects you emotionally, telling a story that is like not like it's not misery porn either. The moments that are truly emotional are emotional because of the humanity, not because of the inhumanity. And I think that's a perfect way to tell a story about that subject matter, which if people have never heard about it, it's it has to do with the Holocaust and a guy who kind of dedicated his life to getting a group of people out of the concentration camps. So it's like it's a movie that you have to be in the mood to see. I have not rewatched it, but that's an incredible movie.
You need to be, and it is a very long. It's what 2 hours 40 or something. It's
it's an epic.
You have to be you have to prepare yourself to watch it and for what you're gonna see. It's an emotionally draining film.
It's something that you've got to be like dead set in the mood for before you stick it on. And it's probably not something you're gonna rewatch 100 times. It's something that you'll watch like once or twice, but.
It's
I mean, Morgan said Saving Private Ryan. That is a good film.
Saving Private Ryan is good.
Oh yeah. I think Saving Private Ryan does struggle from the best part of the movie being the first scene.
Yes.
Other than that, it's a pretty damn good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Spielberg always just makes such good movies. Like, Jurassic Park is up there too. That thing is so rewatchable.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. Yeah. Like how easy it is to watch that film still.
What else would you put in that list then? You've got Schindler's List. I mean, is there anything else that really... Have you seen... So this is a big one I like to say to people. Did you watch Parasite when Parasite came out? What did you think of it?
I actually had a Parasite quote in my last video on YouTube. In my ground types only challenge. There was anyways.
I need to double check that.
Anyways, I thought Parasite was so good.
Yes.
My favorite thing about it was that it was just like it was one of those ones where every 10 minutes you're like, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
And then the next 10 minutes you're like, never mind. Now I know where it's going.
Yeah.
You're like, never mind. Now I think I know where it's going. And then eventually you just say, I have no idea where this is going. And it's such a ride.
Yeah.
I think
don't
that's
want
quite
to
rare
spoil
in
anything,
films these
obviously,
days, though.
but
Like so often now,
yeah.
you watch a film, you're like, well, I know where this is going.
It's difficult to make a twist when every twist has been done. I mean, you look back at the original big twist films, like things like "No, I'm Your Father" in Star Wars, like what the hell, and then you go forwards a little bit to things like The Usual Suspects, that obviously comes down as one of the personally I
Fight
think
Club,
one of the greatest.
Sixth Sense. Yeah.
Do you two know what The Pianist is?
Oh, The Pianist.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a very and again
Morgan
a very
put that in
good.
chat.
Yeah. You may well have watched it in school at some point in history, Ed. It's
Oh, maybe.
It's about a Jewish pianist in I believe he's Polish. It's played by Adrian Brody, isn't it?
I'm not gonna lie to you. In my history class, it was really warm.
Oh,
Like it was a perfect temperature to fall asleep. So if
Okay.
ever like the lights were off, that was me out.
That's not quite as intense as Schindler's List, but I would say on the same. It's like I would watch The Pianist before Schindler's List to prepare yourself for what you're sort of going to get into. Like The Pianist is very good. Yeah,
I'm going to give an honourable mention to John Wick before any of you lot pipe up again.
I like
I
John Wick.
thought John Wick was so good.
John Wick is the best of a bad bunch of action films, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. I'm not a huge fan of John Wick, but I appreciate it for what it is.
I went to watch the third one with Morgan, and I had the biggest migraine. And literally, it was so loud in the cinema. I was just like, I don't want to be here. Like, I actually was dying.
I'll tell you what, if we're talking about films that have got twists, and if you haven't heard of this, you have to watch it. Predestination?
Is that with Ethan Hawke?
Yes, it is.
I've never seen it.
So many films.
Oh my, genuinely, like if you want a film that you have no idea what's going on until the very end, it's literally, I'd say there's genuinely 8 or 9 major twists throughout the film. I'm about to see your screen go white as you type it in again, aren't I? It's genuinely.
No.
Like,
I know what it is. So
okay.
it's like time travel stuff.
Yeah, but it's worth the watch. Just be prepared for you to say it's one of those you'll say, I think I know what's coming, and then you don't know what's coming, and then later down the line what you thought was coming did actually happen, but you've forgotten that because 6 other things have as twist films goes. I think I wouldn't say it's an incredible film. It tries a bit too hard, but it will completely fry your brain with how many twists and how good it is.
All right. You're giving me a lot to look at. It's True Romance and Predestination, right?
Yeah. True Romance definitely watch because it's an amazing bit of cinema. Predestination's just there to fuck your head up.
I have to ask, because you two know your films. Did you watch, is it called Get Out?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Get Out is up there.
Tell me what happened, please.
Rewatch it. I don't Get Out is a film that should have won Best Picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm so confused.
Like, as much as that doesn't matter at all, or is like doesn't really mean anything, like who cares? I think that movie was relevant of the time, could only be released the year that it came out, and was masterful.
Oh yeah.
I don't know anybody else who could have done what Daniel Kaluuya did or what Jordan Peele did.
And
that is a phenomenal movie.
Going on from that, Us by Jordan Peele as well.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't love it as much as Get Out.
I don't think it's much of a masterpiece. It's more of a. He went, I think, a bit more for like what he knew would work in cinema, that people would enjoy more than trying to make a masterpiece like he did with Get Out. But
the score of that movie is great.
Yes, I just think for someone that everyone knows as from being from Key and Peele as like some person who makes skits to making what I would call 2 fantastic movies, but one obviously incredible movie. Like, but I can understand where you're coming from, Ed. Like, if you didn't go into it maybe expecting it to be like really focus on what's going on, it can be quite.
You need to understand, right? Is there's that person who sprints and then just goes whoop.
Oh yeah.
Why?
So I would really actually recommend you. I don't know if you do this often. Like, I think it's almost a meme at this point to be like, oh, rewatch the movie and you'll understand it better. Get Out. I appreciated a lot more the second time. I didn't watch it right after that. I watched it like I think right before Us came out. I watched Get Out again, and you pick up on things. So the guy is sprinting because he's can we just spoil Get Out?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, it's cold enough now.
So we find out that the whole premise of Get Out is that white people are being kind of like put into these black bodies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that guy that's just running is the grandfather of the daughter, and he was like somebody tells a story about how the grandfather raced against Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens, thank you. And lost. So he's like reliving that by running in this new young handedly black body. And so it's just like I love that the movie doesn't tell you that stuff, and you have to rewatch it to like pick up on
glad
that
I
stuff.
asked you now.
Yeah.
Morgan's asked a big question. Have you ever seen Hot Fuzz?
That's what's his name?
Simon Pegg.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Wait. Have you either seen Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead? I don't remember which one I've seen.
Shaun of the Dead is the zombie one.
Yeah, I don't remember if there were zombies in the one I saw or not. I'm sorry. Which one's with Olivia Colman?
Olivia, where she's the policewoman.
Yeah.
That's Hot Fuzz.
Yeah,
I've seen Hot Fuzz.
Right. So, genuinely, this is Hot Fuzz is one of those, like, we love it. That was literally filmed about a 20-minute drive from where we live.
Oh, really?
Other than the murderous old people cult, it is the best film that sums up what life where we live is like. And even then, we do worry about the old people. Like, genuinely, like, yeah.
Yeah, old people are scary, man.
Yeah, but
that's amazing.
Honestly, like, the mundane lifestyle, the day-to-day, everyone knows everyone thing, literally is where we live. That's exactly what it likes.
Jack literally lives, like, 6 doors down from me. Then we have another friend in the middle who lives, like...
No, I'm the one in the middle.
Oh, yeah, you're the one in the middle. So we've got another friend who lives, like, 6 doors down from Jack. I live, like, 3-minute walk down from Jack. We had another friend who used to live, like, another 2 minutes down. Literally, everyone knows everyone.
It is one of those, that film genuinely sums up where we live the best. Better than any other film.
That's amazing.
So, yeah. And, like, so, it's one of those that I think everyone that's watched that film has found it funny, but to us, it's the most quotable film ever, because everyone talks like that as well. Like, so every line gets quoted all the time from that film, but Right,
we got to go back from our tangent, because you still have one more film to pick for your best ones.
Okay. I feel like this is gonna be a bad pick because it's gonna devolve into 3 white men talking about Christopher Nolan, but I genuinely do think that Memento is an amazing film.
Hold on, I just need to remember.
I've never seen it. I'm out.
Oh,
sorry,
it's
boys.
where he tattoos. Yes, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. So
yes.
I haven't seen. I don't know if I've ever seen the entire film, and what I have seen of it hasn't been for at least 5-6 years now. So,
okay,
I can't piece that film together from memory very well, but I know of what you mean, and I've heard a lot about it.
I think it's one of the films that's most accessible that shows you what films can do,
right?
If that makes sense. And that's a very vague thing to say, but it's just one of those movies that is so well executed and so well thought out. The script of that film and how it actually makes sense when everything is laid out, I think is kind of a work of genius. And I say that as somebody that doesn't always love Christopher Nolan's films. Like, I think he has a lot of problems. He clearly doesn't really know how to write women or people that aren't white. But they're just the way that he's able to deconstruct that premise and make it play out in a way that every single scene means something differently as you get new pieces of information in that film. It's just like, I didn't know movies could do that. I didn't know movies could be told in that type of fashion. And as somebody who was kind of like late to getting into movies and stuff like that, it was really eye-opening that to teach you that movies didn't have to just be a story from point A to point B.
Yeah,
and I don't know. It's an amazing film, I think.
Am I right in saying it's almost quite choppy? But it plays into his mental state, because a lot of it is him. He's got like amnesia or something thing, hasn't he?
Yeah, so basically he has short-term memory loss,
Yeah.
and so he is trying to hunt down the killer of his wife, who was murdered, and he has all these clues, but he can't remember them, so he tattoos the clues that he has onto his body.
Yeah.
And the movie is told like in two different timelines. So there's one timeline in black and white that goes chronologically forward, and then there's another timeline in color that there's a scene, and then the next colored scene is the scene before that scene, so it goes backwards in time. So the end of the movie, like at the end of the hour and 40 minutes, the two scenes meet.
Yeah.
And then you get the middle part of the movie. And the fact that it actually pays off and you go, oh my God, that was satisfying. The middle of this story is satisfying.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
And then also on top of that, Jack, as you're saying that like it's choppy, but you don't know everything, but you know enough that you understand what's going on throughout the entire thing. So it's not one of those, I didn't understand anything until the very end. It's more like I'm understanding what's going on, and now I have a better picture of what's going on that I have now that I have all the information. I don't know. I think it's so good. Would I put it in my top 3 if I had a day to go through every single movie I've ever seen? I don't know. But
what about The Room?
It's one that flicks to your head quite quickly as being
The Room.
I did not hit her. I did not.
I think
not.
Another film, I don't know if you've seen it, that does that playing on how time works quite well is Dunkirk. I don't know if you'd have watched it. Now, I was quite unimpressed as a whole about the film. I saw it about 2 months after it came out, and at our cinema, it was one of those that literally every single showing was sold out every single day.
Was it?
And everyone was
Dunkirk the silent one? Well, it wasn't silent, but you know what I mean.
It was...
There was like 3 lines.
No, it was a relatively quiet. It was a fairly quiet film.
It's the one about Dunkirk.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
you know that one.
I think for me, and I think this is almost like, I feel like everyone has this problem that if you see a film late or later than everyone else, and it's been hyped up so much, it's always going to be a little bit disappointing compared to what you expect. But I think Dunkirk was hyped up lows. It was a bit disappointing as a whole, but the thing that I appreciated, as well as just having the ongoing, there was the ticking and the score for it, because that was Christopher Nolan as well, wasn't it? I believe Dunkirk. Was the fact that you had one storyline that was the entire day, one storyline that was the hour, and one that was 10 minutes, or it was something like that, wasn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
The pilot was like 1 minute or 10 minutes. The boatsmen were the hour, and then the soldiers on the beach were the day. That was impressive. Oh yeah, 1917 was something else.
I loved 1917.
Yeah,
so good.
Like I almost find it a game now of rewatching that to see how many cuts did they actually make and where the fuck. There's like 5 obvious ones, and then the other ones are like he's walked past a stick, and you're like, wait, hold on, that was a cut. Like that film, because there are a few films now that do that constant, ongoing, linear. Like you're looking at, but that one I think's done it the best out of any film I've seen. As well as like you don't even realise until afterwards, I think, that you have just watched something constantly moving and flowing because you're so focused on the story and what's going on. And then afterwards you go wait, shit, that all happened in one movement almost. Like, yeah.
Question.
Yeah. 1917 is so good.
Yeah.
When do you record your podcast?
Not at midnight.
It sort of depends. Not right now. Usually on Sundays I record. Yeah.
So
and then
as an idea, if you need guests, why don't we all pick one film for all of us to watch, and then we can return the favour and come on your podcast and have a discussion about 3 films that we've all chosen.
Please have us on, sir.
No, I'm down. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, so I don't do mine live. I do it where I record it and then I edit it up to pieces and stuff. But let's do that. I have to figure out, I mean, so like I was saying at the beginning of the episode, right? Like, it's so hard to plan things because we don't know what's going to come out. But let's do one in like a month or 2, and you guys can come on and we can just like chat about one movie. Do you want to? So are you suggesting, Ed, that each of us picks a different movie for all of us to watch, or
we watch the
we
same
all just
movie.
pick one movie?
We all like pick one movie and watch that.
All right.
The same one,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
ain't
Want to
got time
decide
watch
right now?
movies. Oh God, no, I don't. It's
Name
too
the
late
movie.
What
Yeah,
time
it's
is
really
it for
late
you?
for you guys, isn't it? It is almost 9 p.m. over here, so it's probably really late for you guys.
We
right?
are
2 a.m.
5 to 2 in the morning, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we're troopers.
Wow.
We are. But I don't finish work till like 10:30 at night, so I can't do it any earlier.
And I don't go back to
that
work
makes
for like
sense.
another month, so.
Lucky. We need to do tune of the week, by the way.
we need to get tune of the week in there. So
We've rambled on in
yeah.
true us fashion. I don't
Oh,
have
right.
this.
Morty, we'll let you go first because you sorted this quickly, and then I think me and Ed always say this, then we go, wait, we haven't actually got one. I have actually got one.
Yeah, we haven't actually chosen the song.
We'll let you go first on this one.
So I don't know at all what the vibe of Tune of the Week is, but I'm gonna pick a song that I have gotten addicted to over the last couple months. It's called "Take a Chance" by ABBA.
Oh yes,
Take a chance on
yes,
me.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a huge ABBA fan. Yeah, okay.
My girlfriend is a huge ABBA fan, and I have, every now and then she'll play ABBA, and when she played this song for the first time, I was like, "What the fuck is this? Is so sick. This is such a good song." So now every single time I get a chance, I'm gonna whisper it so she doesn't turn on, but I tell Alexa to play "Take a Chance," and I tell her to do it on repeat. And my girlfriend's always like, ABBA has other songs, and I was like, I don't care.
So you went
Take a chance on me. That's all I need.
You've never seen the film Mamma Mia or Mamma Mia 2, have you?
I have seen the film once, the first one. Can't tell you if it left any impression on me. There's like a bunch of people that all had sex with the same woman.
Yeah. Are you?
And they're like, "Who's the father?"
Are you not aware then that every song in that was by the song ABBA? That's why the film.
No,
was made.
I did know that.
Right. Okay.
But
right.
Just checking.
I saw it so long ago that I don't remember what the songs are. I know there's Mamma Mia in it, obviously. All right, one would think. And so I think Take a Chances on it. I think Dana has told me that it is.
I'll tell you
at the end.
I'll tell you what. If you love Take a Chance, like that, personally, I think that's not one of their good ones. Like, there's some bangers. There's some big ones in there. So yeah, keep checking out ABBA, definitely.
All right.
The winner takes it all is a tune.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of Super Trooper.
Guys, I stumbled upon a band. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called ABBA.
Yeah,
it's me in 2021.
That is a fine, sir. I've never heard of them.
I think they're new and upcoming. I don't know. They're on SoundCloud, is it? Yeah.
Proper boomers.
Ed, what's your tune this week?
I'm gonna go nice and simple with a bit of Guns N' Roses and go Paradise City because I've actually been listening to that a bit. So there you go, plain and simple. It's a good song.
That's a good
Keep going.
I'm gonna go. I always go quite left. I'm the same with films.
Strap yourself in for this.
I go left field. Actually, this one's not too left field. Frederick Knight. I've been lonely for so long.
Okay, maybe it is left field. I've never heard of it.
It's one of those songs. You will have heard it in a film at some point. It's in a lot of films. It's really chilled out. It's good.
Well, I have to make a note of it.
I'm trying to think what film it's in. It's Gone in 60 Seconds. It's in that. Someone's singing it in it.
Gone in 60 Seconds. I never heard of that film.
Nicolas Cage.
Isn't that Nick Cage?
Yeah.
They like steal cars or refrigerators or something?
Yeah. It is cars, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cars that look like refrigerators, yeah.
Same thing. Cars are refrigerators. Refrigerators are cars.
I mean, you'll be pleased to hear that the Chicago Bulls are winning.
Oh, fantastic.
I thought you'd all care about that. Really much so.
I think we're pretty much towards the end of the podcast then. So obviously, again, you'll probably get sick of hearing it, but thank you so much for popping onto the podcast. Like it's been lovely having you on, and there was a point where when you first messaged, I was like, yeah, that's really cool, and then I saw what your numbers have got to, and I went, shit, he's gonna say no now. So
He's going to be too busy.
We appreciate
Oh
you.
man, I appreciate it.
We appreciate you getting your knighthood and still saying hello to us out in public. So.
Yeah, no, this was a blast. Thank you so much.
And
for
more than
having me,
anything,
guys. I really appreciate
congratulations.
Yeah, no,
Thank
well
you.
done. And we would maybe love in the future to get you on again, and at that point, see, we can have another talk about your 7 million subscribers and such. And
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to
7 million
message
subscribers.
I'm messaging you about Root Wars. I'm going to hold you to that.
If I ever get 7 million subscribers, I'm trying to think of something ridiculous that I'll do. I don't know.
You can.
be
I'll tell you
crazy.
what would be ridiculous. You could make a collab with us two and do nothing but plug us for 24 hours.
Oh, actually, so I'm kind of plugging myself here.
Oh, here we go.
Something ridiculous. I wanna call myself out here. On Twitch, I've decided now, because some people do actually send donations in, I feel bad that their money's not worth anything. I've put a dono list for like money that the amount of money they spend gets them something back, and I've accidentally been an idiot and put one that if they put $100 or more in, or £100 or more in, I get their username tattooed on me. So that is a thing, and that is a thing I'm actually going to do. But yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No, not at all. No, I'm not.
I am so donating £100 next time you stream.
I'd like to point. I do have tattoos.
I'm gonna go get some terrible username and just donate $100.
There is a bit of a ruling on there that I've put that it kind of depends on the username. We might need to wiggle it around a bit depending on what it is, but pretty much anything. Yeah, I mean, I do have tattoos. I am addicted to them, so.
That's what I'm going to change my Twitch name to.
But yeah, that's. I thought I'd quickly say that because but there we go.
Okay, well. Oh, jeez. Good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, just a question. Let's say you blow up. Let's say you have one stream that blows up. You have like 800 or 900.
Then I'm taking that off the list. That's going straight off the list. Yeah. No.
Okay. I just said he knows I'm willing to do this.
But no, as a serious note, again, thank you very much for coming on. It's been awesome speaking to you, getting to hear your ideas on. We've got through quite a few different sort of media platforms and stuff, which is good.
Yeah.
You've covered everything for us, I think, which has been nice. So thank you very much for having you on. Like I said, we would love to have you on again in the future, maybe 6 months to a year down the line or something, to do a bit of a catch up with you. We'd love
to force you into Root Wars.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Let's do Root Wars. Let's do it.
To collab and steal all your subscribers and such.
So,
show people real.
Let me just make sure I've got everything. I've got True Romance. What was the other movie?
Predestination,
Root Wars, Yu-Gi-Oh tournament, right?
Yes.
Let's get this shit done.
And movie podcast.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Keep me to all that stuff. I'm down, guys.
This was the trick all along. We invite you to one podcast, and then we get
and then we rope you in.
We get a good 100 hours worth of work out of you. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I'm in the chat, so I'm going to type it all in. What were the? I don't know what the films were called.
I'll message you it. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, just message me, guys. I'm really down to do Root Wars. That sounds fun. And
I mean, me and Jack don't always do videos together. Just to clarify that, like, I can't stand the bloke.
Yeah, I know. We do the podcast, then we don't speak for a week, and half an hour before the podcast starts, we go, "Yeah, how are you? Right, let's fucking do this then." Like...
To be fair, it was a little bit like that today. We haven't spoke much this week, and I was in a terrible mood when we came on. I was playing Pro Evo on my own, just like, "Hi, Jack."
We've both had a pretty interesting week, to say the least. So, no, it's been awesome having you on, man, and we'll obviously keep in contact, and we'll get loads of stuff sorted. And and I think a massive thing is good luck with the continuation of how the channel.
I don't think there's good luck. I think it's more congratulations at this stage.
At this point, there's no good luck. There's congratulations, and there's keep working hard on it.
Well, thank you so much, guys, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be here. And let's keep in touch, and good luck with everything you guys do too.
Awesome.
Right. We're gonna need it.
Right, that was episode 11 of the